What is going on, everybody? You're very welcome back to LeedsBros for your match preview. Leeds United take on Burnley tomorrow at Turf Moor as we return back to Premier League action. Throughout the course of the show, we're going to run through opposition fact file. We'll take a little bit of a look at Burnley. Then we're going to go through the recent head-to-head between Leeds United and Burnley. And then we're also going to give our score predictions as well. Before we do get into the show, guys, please make sure you're dropping a like on the video. And, of course, if you're new here, we would love you to hit that subscribe button. Dylan, how are you, brother?
Friday. It's great. It's great to be off, I have to be honest with you. And then obviously the Mighty Whites are back as well tomorrow. So really looking forward to this weekend. So hopefully if Leeds can get 3 points down at Turf Moor, it would be a fantastic weekend. Fantastic. But yeah, it's great to be here now to talk to all these lovely people, including yourself, Darren. And yeah.
Class. Yeah, class. I'm looking forward to Dylan tomorrow, obviously. It felt like that international break for me felt like it dragged on. Like it was a long 2 weeks, without Leeds United. I think because it felt like we were kind of just getting into the run of things in the Premier League and then in the international break. And then we know the next four and it's going to be another international break. So it's going to feel very stop-start as well after this one as well. But obviously a massive game, Dylan, tomorrow down in Turf Moor. We're going to talk a little bit about Daniel Farke as well. So obviously his press conference, he went into a good bit about the players and then he also said that it wasn't a must-win game. So we're going to get into all that. As always, guys, we do want your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you're getting them thoughts and we'll try and read out as many comments as we possibly can. But Dylan, let's get into a little bit of team news. So breaking news, obviously today was about Noah Okafor. We did hear from Daniel Farke in his press conference that Okafor was a doubt, but he was hopeful that he would be ready for this game. And then we got news from Fabrizio Romano that he is going to be out for 7 to 10 days. A couple of people losing their mind on social media that Romano broke the news. I don't understand why. But Dylan, obviously, this is a massive blow to Leeds United tomorrow. It obviously, naturally, you would think it means Jack Harrison going out to the left-hand side, Brendan Aronson on the right, and then we'll start up with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Willie Gnonto obviously misses this game as well after getting a hernia operation, so the calf issues looks like they're after sorting themselves out, but he has gone for a hernia operation. We've seen similar with Rotor as well, so it does be a fairly quick turnaround, but not quick enough to make this game against Burnley. And then obviously Dan James, Dylan, well ahead of schedule and could feature against Burnley tomorrow. Obviously not going to be majorly fit and match fit. We might only get to see him for a couple of minutes. So a bit of a mixed bag in there, Dylan. Some good news and some not so good news.
Look, I'm not going to try to get too worried about it. I think this game came at the right time after the international break because off air, you did say to me, and the more that I thought about it, kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies because it's coming so close to Halloween. Yeah, I don't really like the fact of Harrison being out there and Brendan Aronson. It kind of shows what we were in the Premier League the last time, and we're kind of going out with same two players, and they're our main threat. And for me, it doesn't seem that good, especially just with Brendan Aronson, and he's been flying. I have to give it to him. Like, he's been doing well. He's done the defensive work so well. If he adds a bit more to his game, he'd be unstoppable. But it's just because of the travelling that he's been doing as well. On international duty, that's going to play a part in it as well. So, but Jack Harrison, he really needs to pull up his socks.
Yeah, Dylan, as I said, I agree. Look, I didn't think in 2025 we were going to be starting with wingers and Jack Harrison and Brendan Aronson, but unfortunately, Dylan, I think this probably shows how bad the recruitment towards the end of the transfer window was. Like, it was really, really poor. And then it's typical Leeds United that the position that we're weakest in is where we're getting all our injuries because we're obviously stacked in midfield. We've got loads of defenders to choose from there as well, and we've got a couple of centre forwards there. And it's just typical the position that we feel a little bit light on in the wings. That's the position that we seem to be getting our injuries back. Look, it's just one of them things that we have to ride this wave and get through it. It's just unfortunate, that it's coming at like all at once where we're having Willie Gnonto and Dan James and Okafor all injured together, and it's just one of them things. But look, the only probably shining light, and it's no disrespect to Burnley, at least it is only against Burnley, at least, and we're not going out against one of the big boys tomorrow. You're Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, whoever it may be, to play with them sort of wingers. But as I said, Dylan, it just shows the recruitment side of things were not great. But I still do think, Dylan, to give it to Jack Harrison and Brendan Aronson, they should still have enough tomorrow to be able to beat Burnley. They should have enough quality down the wings to cause them problems tomorrow. So that's the only shining light in it. Again, probably a negative side of it is we don't really have much coming off the bench. You'll probably have Dan James, as I said, with about 10-15 minutes to go, depending how fit he is. But we don't really have anyone that can really kind of come on and change the game. Of course, you're going to have your Mecha and your Joe Pirro. So that's probably the disappointing side of things, that if things aren't going so well and we need to kind of freshen it up and need that little bit of spark, that we don't really have that coming off the bench. So, look, let's hope we get a nice early goal, settle down nice and early, and hopefully it's an easy game down at Turf Moor tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes. We'll get into Dylan, a bit of opposition then. Fact 5, we'll take a little bit of a look at Burnley. So they obviously are 18th in the Premier League table. The record so far this season is 1 win, 1 draw and 5 losses, gaining a total of 4 points. The home record is the best part of it. They have 1 win, 1 draw and 1 loss, taking 4 points. So they've taken all their points so far this season at Turf Moor. Away record, not fantastic. No wins, no draws, and 4 losses on the road. They've scored 7 goals, conceded 15, and a goal difference of -8. And a familiar face, one to watch, is that man, Jaden Anthony Dillon, who does have 4 goals for them so far this season. They do have a couple of capable players in and around the squad as well. So, yeah, Dylan, Jaden Anthony, obviously ex-Leeds United player. I do want to touch on him a little bit because obviously his time at Leeds United, he didn't really get the fair crack of the whip, I feel, but it seems like we have a good relationship with him, and especially after his man passed away as well, and he seems like he's out hitting the ground running for Burnley tomorrow, but definitely one Leeds United have to watch tomorrow.
He's actually so good, you know. He's underrated for me, if I'm being honest. You know, even with Leeds, when he was with Leeds, I didn't think he gave full potential, or he was given the full chance at times. When you come into a new club as well, it's difficult to juggle with everything, and obviously with the passing of his mum, you know, that's going to hurt anyone and hit anyone at heart.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that he turned his football around. And look, it's with Burnley. I wouldn't mind having him still in this Leeds side for a winger for us, you know, for tomorrow instead of Jack Harrison or even Brendan Harrison. But
yeah,
I like Jen Andy. There's no bad blood. I was going to say blood. There's no bad blood there at all. Yeah, I actually really like him, and hopefully now, you know, if it is, he plays on the left, isn't it? Yeah, if it's Bogle or Justin James, you know, watching him, because when he gets going, his feet can be fast and he's very tricky on the ball. And then if he's in and around that box, his shot's going in, no bother whatsoever. He loves having a pop, and he doesn't give up. That's one thing I will say about Jen Andy. He does not give up. You know, he'll fight for everything. He'll fight for the ball. And yeah. He's definitely one to keep an eye on the wings anyway.
Yeah, 100%. And Turf Moor crowd as well. Let's get into a couple of the comments then. So Danito is here. He says, "Hi bros, I'm excited for the game tonight. Another midnight kickoff." So he is across, I think you're in New Zealand or Australia, isn't it, Danito? So yeah, a late kickoff for you. Another one into the midnight for you. Paul Brennan is here. He says, "Hello gentlemen." Hello Paul, thanks for popping in, buddy. Paul says, "Feeling positive, will be a tricky one, but I'm going 2-1 win for Leeds, and we have to be more clinical and take our chances, make them count." Absolutely, we do. We're going to get into that side of it as well, Paul. Absolutely. Hi, Darren and Dillo. Caught it live at last. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for popping in. Delighted to see you in here, brother. Okafor out and pretty peed off with his injury, but we all knew it was just a matter of time. Yeah, look, we all know Okafor's injury record. He has had these across his career, muscular injuries, hamstrings, calves, abductors and stuff like that as well. Let's just hope and pray that this isn't going to be a continuation of things. Hopefully this is just a once-off and we do have him back. As we hear from Romano, 7 to 10 days. Obviously West Ham is this day next week. Let's hope our physio team can turn it around like what they've done with Dan James and get him back in as soon as we possibly can. Danito says, "Poor recruitment on the wings and forward positions is quickly being exposed." Absolutely. 100% agree with you. You can see that, can't you, buddy? Absolutely. Garrett is here as well. "Think tomorrow is going to be really tough. Like to ask you where you think the creative spark will come from tomorrow." Do you know what? I was thinking about this myself, Garrett, and I think we're going to need a lot of our midfield tomorrow. I think we're going to need another really, really good performance from Sean Longstaff tomorrow. We're going to need a lot of legs in there getting forward and hopefully can create and score goals. And Anton Stack as well. I haven't been overly impressed with Anton Stack the last 2 games against Bournemouth and Spurs. He was brilliant before that, but his levels have definitely dropped off. And I'm hoping this 2 weeks over the international break, he's recuperated a little bit and we can see him get back to that level. So I'm hoping our midfield tomorrow, Gareth, can give us a little bit of creativity. We do know Jack Harrison on his day can create. We know he's a great whip on him. He does have a good shot. So I'm hoping Harrison has a really on day tomorrow. And in fairness to Dylan, Brendan Aronson the game against Spurs. I actually thought he looked like he was creating a little bit more. He was getting forward. He was taking his man on. So hopefully that does continue as well. And then, of course, it's that man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front, Dylan. He is going to start. And I hope he gets the monkey off his back and does score tomorrow and starts banging in the goal tomorrow. But yeah, I'm hoping, Dylan, from our midfield tomorrow, they're really going to have to chip in with the lack of creativity now, given that Okafor is not there.
Well, going back to Harrison there, the shortest is now to take from Okafor. Now, we've seen this with players when they get injured and the subs are being used and utilised, they have to play. They kind of grab the short. Look, Longstaff has done it with Tanaka. We've seen it, obviously, with last season with Joe Rotwell and Tanaka, sorry. And, the boys seem to be doing that. And that, if anything is going forward here, that's what Harrison needs to do. He needs to make sure that his game is completely on point.
Yeah.
Like that. He's very
Dylan,
predictable.
this is his opportunity now, Dylan, isn't it? Is that we've said this, the likes of Bial and Perry and Stack as well, and Longstaff coming into this team, is that now he's going to be given an opportunity tomorrow at the misfortune of Okafor. So he has to grab it with both hands tomorrow. He has to go and improve it tomorrow. And even if Okafor is back next Friday night, that Daniel Fark can't take that shirt off him. Exactly the same thing that's happening with Darlow and Longstaff and Anton Stack, is that you can't give Daniel Fark an option to take out this team. So tomorrow he's given a massive opportunity and he has to grab it with both hands.
You just thought he's very predictable at times, Harrison. He likes to be on that left foot all the time, whipping up a ball. He does have a good whip on him. At times, it goes no man's land, or he just smashes it across the box. But I think what you said going back at the start, the midfield really, really need to be on it. Get us up the pitch, get higher. Longstaff needs to be 110% in his tackles, and it's just general play. And then, I agree, Darren. A Stack for me at times over the last probably 2 or 3 games. He's been, he just dropped off. He hasn't done anything such bad, but he's just gone missing at times. Ever since that goal that he scored.
He was such a high level, didn't he?
Yes,
he obviously, a flying start. He was brilliant in pre-season. Free kick against Wolves, he was absolutely fantastic. And he just seems to have tapered off. Not that he's done anything particularly wrong. He just has seemed to have gone missing in these games, hasn't he? That he seems to go missing for a large period. And for a player of his quality and knowing what he can do, he needs to be involved in the game a lot more for Leeds, doesn't he?
I think what we've seen of him, we just expect more, and we expect that kind of performance week in, week out, especially with that kind of creative that he has in his game, and it's just the quality overall. But like that, if he is dropped off, and Tanaka, I'm not saying he is, I'm just saying if Tanaka was to come back into the team, then it's Tanaka's chance to grab the short.
Yeah.
And we've said it, and I know probably people are sick and tired of me saying it, but that's what we want in this team, it's competition. I really hope Harrison plays well, and I hope that Stack play is good as well, just to kind of keep that midfield going, because there's a good partnership there between the three of them, and obviously Ampadu, Ampadu, he's a leader on the pitch, and not to say about the defensive side of it. I think it's solid as a rock, but it's more where, as everyone was kind of saying in the chat there, where is the creative side coming from? Where is the goals going to come from? And you just hope that Aronson and Harrison or DCL are completely at it tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope so as well, Dylan. The game itself, obviously, I think is a massive game. Realistically, Dylan, a relegation, rival of ours tomorrow when, you put it, obviously, them coming up with us. Daniel Fark was obviously asked the same question as well. Is it a must-win game? And he said, no, it's not a must-win game. It's kind of like all 38 games in the Premier League season. And I can understand where he comes from, and he's not going to come out and, put that pressure on and say, yeah, absolutely, it's a must-win game. And then Leeds don't win it, and then he has to answer for that after the game. So I can understand where Daniel Fark came from it. But I think really, Dylan, behind it, if you'd ask Daniel Fark kind of off it, he will turn around and say that this is a massive game tomorrow. Burnley are obviously only 4 points behind us in the Premier League table. They win tomorrow, leaves a gap of 1. They do say 18, so it really drags us back down into it, Dylan, doesn't it? Given they've no wins in the last 5 as well, you would like to think it's a good opportunity to go to Turf Moor and beat them. Now, having said that, I do agree with Daniel Fark as well. They were one of our toughest opponents last season, Dylan. They really were. We had very tough games against them. Obviously, we didn't beat them at all last season. We lost them 1-0 at Ellen Road, and 0-0 draw at Turf Moor as well. A very poor 0-0 draw down there, it does have to be said. So, look, I'm under no illusions that it's going to be an easy game tomorrow, but I think if you're going to pinpoint any games and you're going to get that average of 1 point per game that Daniel Fark does talk about, these are the games that you look at and you say, we have to be beating the likes of Burnley, because it's a very tough December, and obviously against the big side, you wouldn't expect Leeds United to win. So, these are the games you need to be picking up the points in.
Any point at all. I think, he goes on to this 1 point per game is the ratio that you should be hitting. And I agree. And, if we go down there and we get a draw, I'm saying it now nice and early, I'd be happy. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll take a draw. Take a draw right now.
Nah, I don't.
Um,
I don't.
I do, Darren. I really do. Just under the circumstances of the squad itself overall, the injuries, and then just, after the international break, lads are going to be jaded. I genuinely think if we play well and get a draw, I'd be happy with that. With that being said, it's definitely we shouldn't be losing. Can't be losing.
We can't see us being jaded, Dylan, because we haven't had many away on international break. You're only looking at Brendan Aronson being one of them. Tanaka, Gruev was away as well. Like it's not much when you look at a goalkeeper, Darlow. He's a goalkeeper. You get away with that. Rodon, I think we've seen enough from Rodon that he's going to be okay. The rest of them are more or less are going to be fine for me, Dylan. So I'm not expecting any hangover, and I don't want it to be an excuse about the international break as well, because it's just one of them things. In fairness, we're all well used to it now, the international break, and the players should be well used to it now as well. I'm expecting a win, Dylan. I really am. I know you mentioned there that you would take a draw, but Dylan, for me, we have to start getting points on the board against these side. We've spoke about it over the last couple of games that the performances have been really good. And that's all well and good, but you don't get any points for performances, Dylan. So we need to start putting points on the board. So tomorrow, realistically, I wouldn't mind changing that and having a poor performance and scrapping a win down there and getting out of there with all 3 points, because we're going to have to do that at stages this season. There's no point to playing pretty all the time and you're not getting the results for it. So tomorrow for me, it's all about, no matter what happens tomorrow, no matter how bad the performance is get out of the turf more with 3 points, and especially over these next 4 or 5 games, Dylan, Leeds United need to get points on the board, because as I said, I look forward to that December. We know what's coming up for us in December. It's a very, very tough period as it is without the fixtures that we have as well. So I think now is the time where Leeds have to be ruthless, pull themselves away from that bottom 3, and then that December, which you would expect isn't going to be great for Leeds United, at least we have that little bit of wiggle room there.
I just think going back to last season when we played against Burnley, and I think we can all agree, they were very good defensively. Very good. And, they just broke us down. We couldn't get a shot off at times, obviously, with the Solomon slip was very disappointing because, yet again, we were dominating them from start to finish. They got one lucky chance with Solomon slipping on the ball. Stroke got pulled out, and then bang, they were 1-0 up. But I genuinely think that DCL has to be the main man tomorrow. If Harrison is hitting him in the right areas, whether it's a cross or just a layoff, anything at all, it needs to be that kind of. The ball needs to go into the back of net, is basically what I'm saying, because they are very good defensively, Burnley.
Obviously, we'll get to the elephant in the room, then, and the big talking point that's been the talking point all over the international break is Stroke or Bial. Anyone that watched it, I did do my starting 11 show yesterday. I'm sticking with Pascal Stroke. Did put up a poll as well on our X. It seems to be leaning a little bit more towards Bial at the minute, Dylan. But where do you sit with the whole thing? And you guys in the chat as well, let us know who you going for tomorrow. Are you going to go for Bial or are you going to go for Pascal Stroke?
I'm going to go with Pascal Stroke. I don't think he's done anything wrong. It's just simple as that. I just think it's a bit harsh. I think 2 deflection shots towards on goal. It's just a freak accident, if I'm being honest with you. I'd like to see Bial get minutes, don't get me wrong, just into the legs to see what he's completely at, but I wouldn't like to break that partnership up between Rowan and Stroke.
Yeah, Dylan, I 100% agree with you. I'll get into a couple of comments
just 1 second.
here now as well. Garrett says here, it's therefore a weak game. We cannot afford 2 lose. Would like to see Bial start. Yeah, look, I wouldn't be completely against it, Garrett, but I wouldn't be saying take Stroke out, because I don't think he's being that poor, to be 100% honest with you. As Dylan mentioned there, 2 deflected shots from Spurs. On another day, it deflects off him and it goes out for a corner, and he blocks 2 attempts on goal. So I don't think he's really put that much of a foot wrong. So I think Daniel Farke will be reluctant to break up that back line. I don't think it's that bad as what people are making it out to be, that it's necessary to take Pascal Stroke out. So for tomorrow, I would start with Pascal Stroke and see how it goes. And then again, if we leak a couple of goals, and depending on his performance, you could see him taken out for West Ham. But at the moment, I would be reluctant to change anything. There's obviously a chat there about Stack coming out as well and Tanaka coming in. But again, as I said, Tanaka's been away on international duty. Anton Stack hasn't been. He's been back here. He's been getting a little bit of rest and training with the team as well. So I think Anton Stack will keep his place as well. So as I said, I'll be reluctant to change too much just for this first game back after the international break. I don't think it needs to be wholesale changes. There are obviously going to be a couple in there anyway, with Okafor being out and Jack Harrison coming in. But I don't think we need to rip up, everything that we've done so far and change it all. So for me, just tomorrow, I'll be sticking with Pascal Stroke. Mr. Whitesnake says, doomed. We are doomed. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We are not dumped. Shane says, evening from boring Burnley, lads. Class, Shane. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Have a fantastic time, mate. Make sure you pick us up 3 points. Paul Brennan says, we have to make sure that we can get the right passes in for Dominic and get into the end of midfield is going to be key. We need to win these 4 matches coming up as we need as many points as possible, says Paul. And I do. I agree with that 100%. Jason O'Keefe, let me just pull up your comment here. Buddy, where are you gone? Want to lose you, Jason? There you are. Sorry, up here. Jason O'Keefe says, too light in the wings will be a tough game. Need to keep Anthony quiet. He seems to be their goal scorer. We did touch on that, Jason. He's definitely the one to watch tomorrow and against his old side as well. So we definitely need to be mindful of that one. Amy's going to go with Pascal Stroke for tomorrow. Shane says, evening lads, massive game tomorrow. We need our first goal. Okafor is a blow. And we need the first goal. Okafor is a massive blow. I think I agree with you there, Scott. I really do. I think we do need the first goal because we've seen Burnley's defensive record, especially last season at Turf Moor as well. Jesus Christ, God forbid we go 1-0 down and we're chasing the game tomorrow, which seems what we're after doing the last 2 games as well, against Bournemouth, against Spurs, Wolves as well. We seem to go a goal down before we kick ourselves into gear, and I think that's what we need to change. We can't let that rocket in. We need to get the first goal tomorrow. Carl Hennessy says, lads, with the injuries, we could have played 3-5-2 tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. It was something that I was thinking about as well, like what's the options going to be. I can't see Fark deviating from it, but again, just being the football and brain of mine and playing football for all my life, it's what is the alternative if Fark does change it up. And it's something that I was thinking about. I have to be honest with you, we're going with a back 3 with Bial, Stroke and Roland. Again, Fark's not going to do it. Your wing backs of Bogle and Goodmunson, because I think they'd be fantastic. You keep that midfield 3 there, and then you possibly go with Pirro and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front as a front 2. I think it'd be fantastic. But I think away from home, I don't think you're going to see Daniel Fark doing that realistically. But yeah, it would be something I'd like to see. But again, I don't think it's going to happen. Let's take a look then, Dylan, at the recent head-to-head. If we could pull up. Here we go. Get that up all the way. There we go. So head-to-head between Leeds United and Burnley. So Leeds United and Burnley have faced each other 47 times in competitive matches. Leeds hold the advantage with 19 victories, while Burnley have recorded 14 wins. The remaining 14 encounters have ended in draws. The recent encounters back in January 25 was that boring 0-0 draw up at Turf Moor. Back in September 24, Burnley did beat us 1-0 at Elland Road. That was the Manor Solomon slip. And then January 22, Leeds United had a 3-1 win. That's how Spurs was meant to say. Burnley had a 3-1 win against Burnley at Elland Road, thanks to goals from none other Jack Harrison, Dan James, and also I believe it was Stuart Dallas was on the goal sheet as well that day. So that was against Burnley, not against Spurs. So Dylan, yeah, not too bad. Leeds as well are unbeaten in the last 6 games against Burnley as well, which is obviously a good record as well. But Dylan, tomorrow, as I said, look, I know you're kind of saying go with the draw. You're happy enough to take the point, but for me tomorrow, I'm gonna go against Daniel Fark. I think it's a must win.
It is. I agree. I'm not saying it is definitely a must win, but under the circumstances of the way that Leeds do come out at times, and I'm a firm believer these little teams, no disrespect whatsoever to Burnley, that we kind of seem to let it go or we fall apart, and then when we are against the big teams, we seem to dominate possession, dominate the game. You go back to Newcastle, for example. I thought we should have won that game. I thought we were unbelievable. Fulham was a freak accident. But I just mean, I take a point now, willingly, knowing Fark seems to be in this kind of mentality. A point per game is what's going to keep us up. I don't agree with it, but I mean, I'll take it under the circumstances of the amount of games that are coming up. If we get a win, though, it'll be good. It'll be really good. Yeah. I'm going to go for a win anyway. My prediction is going to be a win.
Of course it is. It has to be. Mr. White Snakes says here, all this does, it gives opportunities to others to step up. It's 100%, Dylan. That's the nail on the head, isn't it? And it's the competition. We spoke about it with Jam on the broadcast on Wednesday night. And we spoke about this, Dylan, that competition is massive and competition ups the level of absolutely everyone. So you want your Tanaka snapping at the heels of Stack. You want your Mecha and Pirro pushing Dominic Calvert-Lewin. When Dan James and Willie Naldo come back in, you want them pushing your Okafors and your Brendan Aronson as well. And be all pushing Stroke, so far and so forth. You want this across the whole team to push everyone and raise everybody's level of this game. So Steve, I think you have the nail on the head there. Absolutely. It's others to step up and it's up to them to grab the short with both hands and not give it back to them 100%. Shane says here, I think 3 points tomorrow is a must, a scrappy win, I think, and I don't mind that, Dylan. We spoke about that, Dylan. We take that. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Dylan, a stat as well, just before I came on. He's a decent record against Burnley, Dylan. He's 4 goals in his last 6 games against Burnley tomorrow. We have spoke about him a little bit, but we're going to talk about him a little bit more in detail. His performances overall, Dylan, I think has been absolutely fantastic. He's a player that I obviously did rate, but I, only ever watched him the odd time when he was playing for Everton. But now having watched him a lot more from Leeds United, Dylan, I think a lot more highly of him. His all-round play for me is his next to none. His hold-up play is absolutely brilliant. The leap he has on him as well to bring it down and bring others into play is absolutely fantastic. But the other side of it, there's no denying it, Dylan. He needs to start putting the ball in the back of the net, doesn't he?
Yeah, look, we've said it a couple of weeks ago. He's getting into the right areas, and he is. But getting into the right areas isn't going to win you games or get you points on the board. Putting the ball in the back of the net does. You said it yourself. It's just a monkey on the back for him. I think once he'll get one, I know he did get one against Wolves. I mean, that was a cracking ball as well from Jayden Bogle to swing in. I know it was a deflection, but I mean,
more of that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need. Hit him. You've just said it yourself. You took the words out of my mouth. He brings people into play. His leap on him is absolutely unreal. Keep him uninjured and keep him fit would be the main thing at hand, because he just brings everyone into the game. Holds up the play really well. I think he'll get a goal tomorrow, Darren.
Yeah,
I'm being honest. I really do. I really think he's going to get a goal tomorrow. I think he needs to get a goal, not just to get the monkey out of him back, just for himself, because he's been out of this game for a long time, and everyone was kind of writing him off. And even when we signed him, let's be honest, so a lot of the fan base that were saying it was underwhelming signing. I don't think so. He has that experience, Premier League experience. It's just we need to give him time. But the thing is, we can't. What would you say? He needs to be banging in goals. We can't keep waiting around.
I don't really mind it. Like, on the other side of it as well is that if we can get others around them scoring goals, if he's bringing others into play and laying them off and dragging us up the pitch, and others around them are scoring goals and he's being effective, I don't really mind that. So if he's bringing the likes of your Harrison and Aronson into the game tomorrow, long staff stack as well, I don't really mind that. He does just need to start chipping in with 1 or 2 here or there, especially over the last 2 games against Bournemouth and Spurs. He's had a good couple of opportunities to score, and he's kind of fluffed his lines a little bit. And I solely do put that down to a little bit of rustiness, Dylan. I do. We've seen him. He has got the goal scoring ability, especially in the air. He's absolutely fantastic. So I'd like to see Leeds exploit that a little bit more tomorrow. You mentioned it there with Jack Harrison. I'd like to see us get the ball in a little bit early from Jayden Bogle on that right hand side. We don't usually see it from Brendan Aronson putting them types of balls into the box. It's more or less low driven ones. But when Bogle gets the opportunity tomorrow, I'd like to see him try and hit Dominic Calvert-Lewin and get them balls into the box as soon as we can, because that's what he's very good at. He's not just a target man, but in and around that box with his head, the leap on him, he's absolutely lethal as well. So yeah, I think we should probably try and play more to his strengths and get the ball into the box as soon as we possibly can and give him the opportunities.
I agree, and it obviously brings Longstaff into the game of set pieces, whether just corners in general, because he seems to be on them. We need to be in DCL or stack at the tall boys. Or Rodon, obviously Rodon's starting to bring that to his game now, scoring from corners and just scoring headers in general. And these are the 1%ers that you've talked about, Darren, religiously over the last, since we started LeedsBros. We need to start utilising them a little bit more, so we can bring that to the game as well, especially at Burnley. Even though they're good defensively, it will really, really help us out. So, I wouldn't necessarily say from tip-off, all guns blazing sort of thing, because we've seen that week in, week out. We have been dominating.
You'd like to see us kind of control it, though, wouldn't you?
Control it, exactly. Yeah,
I think the main thing tomorrow is try and be good in possession, Dylan, isn't it? Don't give it away too cheaply. Don't let their crowd get behind them tomorrow. Try and keep the ball and be sensible with it. And as you said, don't be kind of too overzealous with it and trying to get forward and get caught in behind. So yeah, I 100% agree with you, Dylan. Good comment here from Paul Brennan. I did mean to mention at the start of the show. So the best team in the world was founded on the 17th of October 1919. Leeds United, 106 years old today. So happy birthday to Leeds United, the best club in the world. And as Paul says here, 3 points tomorrow would be the perfect birthday present tomorrow. So keep on Leeds, says Paul. So yeah, did forget to mention at the start of the show. So happy birthday to Leeds United. Russ is here as well. He said, big up lads, big up Russ. Cheers for everything, pal. You're being a rock as well behind the scenes for us. So thanks very much, pal. Gotta head off. Take care. Much love to you all. You too, Steve. All the best, brother. Chat to you soon, pal. Shane says Pirro looked well playing off DCL when he came on. Most are forgetting Pirro. I think so as well, Shane. I really do. And there's been this narrative, and Dylan's been nearly under his bed crying about this, is that Pirro could possibly be sold in January. And I don't think he should be, Dylan, because as I said, I do think he still has a part to play in this Leeds United side. He is a goal scorer. Leeds United need goal scorers. So I think when it's not working for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or he has wore down defences, I think Joe Pirro is your perfect man to bring on, because if you're giving him anywhere in and around the box, 9 times out of 10 he puts the ball in the back of the net. And as Shane says here, Dylan, he did look dangerous when he came on. He had that snapshot against Spurs that was well saved from Macario as well. So he is a good option off the bench, Dylan, and he hasn't really got much game time.
He needs to be brought in earlier. Then it's the subs that they're too late. I think if he was given a bit more time, DCL wears down the defenders very, very well. As you said, the whole of play is unbelievable. But with Pirro coming on, he needs a bit more time. It's as simple as that. He might not do the running for you. He might not do the athletic side of it, but he will definitely put the ball in the back of the net. For me, it was a bit too late. Look, you all know how I feel about Pirro. He is unbelievable in my eyes. I just think he's just an old-fashioned striker. Just puts the ball in the back of the net. Similar to, not going to say like Mark Viduka, but I mean, Mark Viduka was kind of doesn't do anything. He's lazy. He's this, but the goals that he scored was unbelievable. So we're always saying here. We're always saying here about we need to play the DCL strengths. We need to play the Pirros as well. That's the way I look at it.
It's a totally different. If you're playing Pirro up front, then it's a totally different game, and you probably see Fark revert back to the 4-2-3-1 if he's gonna go with Pirro, because I don't think the 4-3-3 would suit him. I think similar about Dan James as well. I don't think the 4-3-3 suits him, but that's definitely a topic for another day. Shane says here, midfielders need to start taking shots also at goal. Longstaff can smack a ball. I agree with you there, Shane. I really do. I'd like to see us take a little bit more shots, and it gambles around the box, but again, it probably goes a little bit against the Fark principles, doesn't he? He likes to see us keep it and kind of work our way into the final third a little bit more, but we have seen it from Longstaff, haven't we? We have seen he's got a shot on him. And I think Stack does as well, Dylan. We've seen him from free kicks as well. I believe Stack could have a shot on him. We've seen Tanaka at times as well. Exactly. He's well able to shoot as well. I wouldn't say Ampadu is the best shooter. But I think Shane is right, Dylan. We definitely need goals from midfield. I even think of this team, fully fit with your James and your Nanto, I still think there's a massive reliance on this Leeds United side from our midfield to start chipping in with goals and be a little bit more creative. So absolutely, we need them performances. Our Longstaff stacked up his level, and Ampadu again tomorrow. And then if Tanaka does come in and gets any sort of minutes tomorrow,
great rotation.
He's a massive point to prove there as well tomorrow. So I agree with Shane there. We definitely need to get more goals from midfield.
It's just the rotation for me. If the two boys are jaded, if Stack's jaded or Longstaff is jaded, to bring Tanaka into this game, that's brilliant as well. It's phenomenal. And then you said it yourself, the boys can't smack a ball. Stack definitely can. We've seen his free kick. Longstaff's not afraid. He's like I'm going to call him a pit bull in the middle in the midfield. He's just he's not afraid. He's not afraid whatsoever. He doesn't even think about it. It just happens. And then Tanaka, his off the ball movement as well as his pass, and it gets up the field. And if he is in front of it, he'll have a pop. And we've seen it last season in the Championship. The midfield for me definitely needs to start chipping in a few more goals, but all that keeps ringing out of my head at the minute is Jack Harrison. I feel like Jack Harrison really needs to play a part tomorrow and hit DCL.
Yeah. And Paul Brennan says here, keep Sean Longstaff on corners.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him stay on corners
100%.
tomorrow. And even though Jack Harrison, we know he's good at corners, I wouldn't change that, because I'm sure they were practicing it over the international break. So definitely keep Longstaff on him, because some of his balls into the box have been absolutely fantastic. So I agree with you there, Paul. Longstaff could be our Frank Lampard, start taking shots, hit the back of the net. We know what strike he has on as well. Definitely needs to start chipping in with goals. Right, Dylan, let's get into the most important part of this. What is your score prediction for tomorrow?
I'm going to say 2-1 to Leeds.
I was going to say 2-1 as well. I'll change it. I think it's going to be a tight game, Dylan, tomorrow. I do. I don't think there's going to be much separating the sides. It'll probably frustrate a lot of fans. But yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I'll go 1-0 Leeds tomorrow, Dylan. I think a scrappy 1-0 win. But as I said at the very start of the show, I would absolutely grab it with both hands and get out of there and run, even if it is a scrappy 1-0 off the back of DCL's ball. And Leeds United take all 3 points. I would absolutely take that 100%. But hopefully, fingers crossed, myself and Dylan will be back as well for player ratings tomorrow, straight after the game. So keep an eye out for that. We'll get that uploaded as soon as we possibly can. And hopefully, we're talking about Leeds United take all 3 points. But that is it, Dylan. Nothing to say before we wrap it up and say goodnight to all these lovely people.
just a thanks to everyone that tuned in and watched us again. You know, we can't do this without you guys. We love it. We absolutely love it. And yeah, thanks to everyone that did tune in.
Yeah. Yeah, as Dylan said, I just want to reiterate what he said there. It is obviously very tough at the minute. I'm sure you are all aware of, and your ears are probably hurting you from content creators at the minute, that the YouTube algorithm is just fighting against us at the minute. But what I have here today is likes is a massive part of it now, lads. So if you can do, it's completely free to do so. Make sure you hit that like button. It really, really does help us out and push us out there. We're showing it behind the scenes, the analytics. I won't bore you with it, but you can't see our video isn't getting pushed out there as enough as it was because we're not getting them likes on the video. So please make sure you drop a like on it, guys. Really does help us out. So again, as always, we do appreciate the magnificent support. That was a hard word. To that you do put out. Danlito says, thanks, bros. Thanks very much, brother. Thanks for popping in. Burnley, they have to try and win the game, so we could get them on the counter. DJ being back is a bonus. I agree with that as well. Burnley are going to need to get the win as well. Thanks, gentlemen, and fellow Leeds fans. Keep fighting, says Paul. Absolutely. Shane says, good night, lads. All Leeds, aren't we? We certainly are. And Shane says, liked and hyped. Cheers. Really do appreciate it. Right, lads, we will leave it there. Thanks very much for popping in. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. So mind yourselves, mind each other. We'll catch you in the next one.